I'm Matt Lairden. This is the Market Mindset Podcast. Thanks for joining us once again. Today, we had Walter Parker, Castle Rock, Colorado, Regional Vice President of USA Lending. Thing is, we didn't talk one thing about interest rates, mortgages, etc. We didn't talk about gross domestic product, consumer price index, inflation. We all talked about social media, and he's the expert. He has taught over 200 courses, classes, reached thousands and thousands, helped thousands and thousands of real estate agents and professionals get a bigger social media presence. He feels that AI today is where social media was 10, 12 years ago. We need to embrace it. We talked about being authentic, organic. I would sort of equate him to the Rick Rubin of social media for real estate professionals. I learned a lot. I'm going to go back and probably watch this podcast 5, 6, 7 times. It was so engaging, went by, as always, too quick. So just want to say thank you to Walter Parker for joining us, and hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hey there, guys. Matt Lairden with the Market Mindset Podcast. Took a while to get Walter Parker on today. He is a vice president of regional vice president of USA Lending. He's a keyboardist. He's a lead generation specialist. We're going to talk about social media today and why we need to embrace it. Walter, thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule there in beautiful Colorado. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Matt. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. So let's just talk about this. I'm just going to say it's uncomfortable for me to do social media, and doing a podcast is so outside of my wheelhouse, comfort zone, but sometimes we got to embrace it. What do you suggest? Well, let's talk about why social media is so important out there. I know you've spoke to over 200 individuals, talked to people, done workshops, seminars. I mean, you're the go-to guy as far as social media and real estate agents, but why and how? And I'll let you go. Ready, start.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So I grew up son of a preacher man, right? And played music. Actually, my mom started me piano at age of 3. Had no idea of the course that would set me on as far as growth, opportunities, stages, platforms. I grew up an introvert, to be honest with you, and so naturally, I'm fine being at home with just my family. I'm also comfortable in crowds now, but that was because my parents really kind of pushed me out and said, "No, get up and sing, get up and sing." I'm like, I don't have that great singing voice, so I got into music and mainly staying behind like piano and drums most of my life. The reason why I say that is because it was interesting being the music guy and usually being the youngest guy on staff for many churches. Social media just got thrown into my lap. It was kind of like, hey, we need somebody to run the Facebook page or do this. Well, I wanted to do more than just a page or this. I was always about engagement, even back then. So when I was doing banking at the same time, didn't really correlate the two back in '08, '07, like a lot of people, hadn't even thought about that. But as we got into 2011, 2012, I was on Facebook a decent amount and started networking with Chamber of Commerce and different things. Hey, let's go like each other and let's go build the friends up. So when I got into mortgages about 8 years ago, I sat down at a real estate office where the actually head of the mortgage company was based out of, and I just started adding real estate agents as friends. I knew immediately I did not want to cold call, did not want to door knock. I knew that, hey, back in 2017, it wasn't, even though there were people doing it, it wasn't that type of thing where, so when I sent a friend request to a real estate agent, they were like, accept immediately. So, and again, I didn't go straight to selling. I'm just like, hey, thanks for connecting. Just trying to build network. Let me know what I can do to help you out. From there, Facebook Live became a big thing, and video was really starting to come in, to play. Had family, even some other family members that real estate agents said, "You're just doing live to see yourself on camera." I'm like, no, I really feel like, hey, you carve out your space now, you'll be thankful later. And so video is king. Everything I did from there on out, I realized that agents were not being taught back in 17 and 18 as much from their brokerages as they are now about how to leverage social media and how to get in front of people in your neighborhood. Where are the people at? And type of things. So I started holding these classes, and we started with a small group, just me and a title person. We called it Real Estate Roundtable. And from there on, that kind of grew. I think our first class we had 7 agents, and from there on out, we had 20 plus agents on a monthly basis
Wow.
coming and learning a little bit about Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I realized I would never have to cold call or drop in with donuts to a real estate office ever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the behind the scenes and how we got to where we are today. Now I feel like it is the greatest free tool that an agent can leverage, and probably the most non-invasive versus cold calling and door knocking. Especially now with DNC rules and regulations,
Yeah.
you do not want to call someone on a DNC list, right? By accident. So there's that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the DNC list, and now I read they're cutting out, they're going to eliminate, blind text and everything as far as connecting. Um, I guess one of the debates out there is it quality or quantity when it comes to social media, or is there a happy
Oh,
blend?
it's both. The algorithm rewards those that are consistent, right? So there is a quantity aspect of it. You're only as good, like on Facebook and Instagram. There, we used to teach a class called 72-hour listing, and there was a few things we would do. One of the things we would always have an engagement post, like, "Hey, would you rather be in the mountains or at the beach? Would you rather, red wine or white wine?
Right,
That
right,
type of
right.
thing." And we've all seen those posts. But I started teaching that years ago to a lot of both loan officers and real estate agents because I'm like, "Hey, you need your engagement up before you make a business post, right?" So I always say this: the rule of 80/20. 4 out of 5 posts should not be about your business. You should be connecting with people, developing your brand by who you are and going after who you want to do business with, right? And so you do that with the personal post. The business post definitely is your money post, and I call it the money shot as far as, hey, here's where we're going to try to draw engagement to actually convert into leads or sales. But 80% of what you do needs to be, hey, just documenting your life. And I had an agent last week got on the phone with me, but I live a boring life. I'm all about my husky and I'm all about yoga. I'm like, that's awesome. Document that. There's so many thousands of people that would do business with you based off of those two things right there. So, yeah, it's definitely about quantity and quality. Obviously, you don't just post anything to be posting because people get tired of it. It's white noise and scrolling. One valuable thing I learned, and you could do long form posts. There's many different ways to market on social media, but one thing I learned when I was in ministry was billboards. There's a golden rule of law on billboards, and that is to not have more than 7 words on a billboard. Now, why is that? It's because when you're driving, what you can retain and read with your eyes. So I immediately applied that when I got into doing social media for real estate because it's like people are scrolling with their thumbs. If they don't see something, you don't catch them within the first 3 seconds, then you've lost it. So whether it's video or an actual picture or post or anything like that, you don't want it to be too wordy. You want it to be thinned out, and you want it to make sure that it is eye-catching, eye-popping, a good hook at the very beginning.
Right, right. So I love that word. So the takeaway for me is 7 words. When you say 7 words, though, are you doing that? I mean, I know like on Instagram or Facebook in particular, you put a purple background or a blue background. What would
Yeah.
be, and I'm in that uncomfortable zone. But when I hear you talk, Huskies and yoga, my thing, I love pickleball. I play a lot of pickleball.
Oh, and that's one of the most popular growing sports right now.
Right. Yeah. And with that, I find when I'm wanting to talk to have commonality with the people on the podcast, I'll go to a podcast groups, but I'm getting a lot of feedback from some of these major online pickleball groups, and I say, hey, you play pickleball, and if you're in any area of real estate, love to talk to you, love to have you a guest on the podcast, and the engagement just from that has been powerful. What are you using for what's your outside interest? Music, obviously, but what other outside interests are you using?
You know, I'm always very intrigued by sales, period. I know this is kind of crazy, but for me, like just psychology and human mind. Now, for me and my family is probably the biggest thing. So if you go to my Facebook page, does it take long for you to see pictures posted? It's always going to be about my family. And so I've led with that, which obviously connects me to a lot of clients and realtors that are, out there and similar beliefs. It could be a faith background, but it also For me, the family aspect has been just really huge and giving back to the local community. So one of the things I've been working on the last few years, I got with Marty Bahama a little over a year ago, and he does this thing called the Buzz Network, and he trains real estate agents and some loan officers. I was able to get in there because he's a loan officer himself, but he trains them how to go into and take over Facebook groups and then use those Facebook groups to generate free leads. Well, again, what are Facebook groups centered around? It's around specific either areas or interests. The pickleball, huge. I mean, I was on staff at a church at Village View Community, Village View, Florida, excuse me, which is the nation's largest retirement community, right?
Okay.
So if there's a more popular sport in Florida, I don't know it other than pickleball. I mean, it's doing much better than their football teams. I can tell you that right now. But one of the things I did locally here, even just coming to Castle Rock, Colorado, is I just started a local group, and there was already 4 or 5 pretty large groups. But within a matter of about 3 years, the group grew itself. I kept it public for a long time, and I just switched it private this past year. But I have about 9,000 local residents in a group called Peak Living Castle Rock, right? And so again, being able to take those common interests. So for me, family, and I'm a foodie. I
Right.
love going out. And when I got started in this, the one thing I knew how to do was let me promote other businesses. Let me get with small business owners. And so I got into all these larger groups and said, "Hey, do you mind if I promote another business?" They're like, "Wait a minute, you're promoting someone else? Are you charging them for it?" I'm like, "No, it's free. I do this to get known around the area, but it's just to bring more attention to the community." And so they were like, "Sure." So I kind of got a free pass in a lot of groups to do that. And that led to business. And obviously the business owners are very grateful. And they are influential people in the community. So again, if you want to grow, there's so many different ways and avenues you could pick with social media. The name of my future podcast that I'm working on, coming up myself, and I'm looking forward to get a chance to have you on, is the same thing I tell agents in every social media class. I have them all stand up at the very beginning, and I have what is called a 5 finger affirmation. And it says, "I will get over myself."
I saw that. I saw that. And yeah, and that can be get over yourself is, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a term called imposter syndrome, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but we're
Yeah.
experts. We're good. You've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time, but I get up to speak and I'm like, these people know more than I do. I'm not as knowledgeable as I think I am, and it's an insecurity that pops up. But I'm gonna put that up. Get over myself. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a great. I love that
100%.
5 word, catch. Get over yourself. Um,
Yeah.
Going back to you got a Facebook group. I took over 3 Facebook groups by accident, real estate oriented, and really the engage I found is the more I engage, the more I popped up on those little recommended you follows, and we've
Yeah.
grown it. We've doubled it in size in the last year. But so Facebook, you've got your personal profile, you've got a professional profile, and then you've got groups. What's your opinion on? I mean, how do you just have it centric to your personal, or do you also have a professional? It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I will tell you this because we know video is king, right? And we know that the algorithm is going to favor more videos and shorts. Now I was on the phone. It's funny. I took a call for an agent that was switching over from Commissions Inc. to Lofty. They said, "Hey, would you get on the phone with their sales team? They just want to talk to you about ads." I'm like, "Okay, sure," because I know I've run a lot and I teach classes on Facebook ads. So I got on the phone with the guy, and the guy worked for 5 years for Facebook. And so, I told him, I said, "Hey, I already do Facebook. I can get $2 to $4 a lead on Facebook ads. I'm good. I'm curious about some of the other stuff." And he said, "Well, I work for Facebook." He said, "Do you know the video hack?" I was like, "Well, what's the video hack?" He said, 15 seconds, 15 seconds or less. I was like, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah, 15 seconds because the loop kicks in. If it's under 15 seconds, your video gets watched more than once, and it tells the algorithm to push your video more." So as far as getting back, to these things, I mean, the video is absolutely king. And so
Okay.
when we do professional page versus a personal page, a lot of it's just go straight to putting our video straight on personal. I stress and really emphasize this, not enough. And I don't even do it as well. I try to do it more than I don't, but you want to post your videos on your professional page first, always, and then share to your personal page. The reason being, one, you bring a little bit more, hey, I have a professional page, right? So,
Okay.
because the agents no one rules, always be reminding everybody, I am your local real estate advocate. I'm your local real estate agent. But two, if you put it to your personal page, great. It may get a lot more views, but those views are mean nothing as far as retargeting. When it comes to being able to track and trace who's watching your videos, anything you put on your professional page is going to be tracked. So you can track up to 12 months worth of videos and retarget every single person who watches it. That's why your Tom Ferry or Buffini, once you watch one of their videos, you're going to see all their videos. Why? Because their retargeting game is on point and they're retargeting people who have watched even just 3 seconds of one video. So your professional page is very important. It's important to still keep some content on there. A lot of times I'll have like automatic real estate posts. There's groups out there that'll automatically put like real estate content on there for you. So I'll do that on my professional page, but I'll jump in when I'm doing videos. I'll do that now. Facebook Live is the one exception. I will usually go live on my personal, but I'll share it also on my professional while I'm live. But, obviously you're not going to get near the amount of viewership on your professional page versus your personal when you go live. But other than that, definitely with that, groups are great. I'll go live within the group. I'll do events within the group. If you get a specific of, like a pickleball thing, why not go live when you're playing pickle? Have you ever gone live playing pickleball, Matt?
I haven't gone live yet, period. So,
Oh no.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, get me out of, okay, get over yourself, Matt. You know, because I just don't see valid content, but I think that people aren't going to be interested, but yet I'm hearing it from you. So it's an affirmation
Yeah.
for me. Just content. So people are going to
Well,
ask right away. Go ahead.
here's the problem we have, Matt, in this industry is that we're inundated with each other. So we automatically assume the client doesn't want what we're seeing every day because we have other realtors on our timelines. We have other mortgage people on our timelines. And so I go back to, hey, obviously people are on their phones for hours at a time. Obviously, it's the number one medium. YouTube, long form is still king on YouTube, even though they're carving out shorts, right? But people are still watching videos 5, 10 minutes. Now I don't recommend that on the other venues. I mean, you don't want 5, 10 minute videos, but going live, I'll still go live sometimes for 10 minutes just to grab the audience because I'll get people popping in and out, in and out. And I'm talking to realtors majority of the time. Okay. So I'm saying, hey, here's what's going on in the market. Here's a great marketing hack. Here's something that's going on. But it is a thing where, and I've had some realtors give me positive feedback. I've had some realtors saying, "Oh no, we don't want another thing talking about rates," and I'm
Right.
like, "Well, it's important." And actually, if I make a lot of the content shareable to the consumer, so the real estate agent can share that and like, "Hey, here's what you need to know: common myths about buying a home, common myths about interest rates." Especially right now, that's the hot topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So give me an example of where, I'm going to circle back to me here, but
Oh, yeah.
what's an example of a live shot to create engagement? And then we're going to go, don't let me forget days of the week, how much, times, etc. But what would be something that I would do and live when it's live, does it stay there after? Help me here. So
Yeah.
I do something live from Seal Beach Pickleball Tennis Center. Hey, just out here today playing pickleball with a couple of my guys. One's a real estate guy, one's that does this. I mean, how long does that last?
So great question. Facebook is always tweaking and updating, their format and trying to stay relevant. Also keep you on your toes. Make sure you're not a bot just auto posting either. You can put the as soon as the live is done, it gives you an option that says, delete immediately, keep on for 30 days. But if you click on the keep for 30 days, it gives you an option to keep indefinitely. I would tell you keep it indefinitely. It's not like you're going to run out of space or everything. I probably close to maybe 1,000 live videos logged in the last
Oh,
five
wow.
years. So,
Wow.
and here's the thing, even years ago, right before COVID started, I would always teach about Facebook Live. And so I had an agent that came to my class here in Denver, and he'll tell you because I just went to one of his classes recently, and he was like, listen to what Walter says. He told me to go live, and he said about 4 weeks before COVID broke loose, I started going live every Wednesday. He said, in the last 4 years, I haven't missed but 2 weeks of lives in 4 years. And it's made a huge difference in my business. He said, I go live same time every day. So there's that static live that you could do once a week where it's kind of more like a, hey, I'm reporting. He went from being talking about real estate to targeting real estate agents for his downline, right? So it can shift. It doesn't have to be about one thing, but find what you're going to be comfortable and knowledgeable about talking about. Honestly, Matt, I mean, it depends who you're going after. If you're going after the consumer, then, I think the pickleball thing would be great, like pickleball chat, and actually, maybe towards the end of you playing, turn the camera on live and then talk to maybe you're playing with other people that you're networking with. So then,
Okay.
show them playing pickleball and doing some of that. But yeah, the live I would leave indefinitely because majority of your viewers are not going to be watching you live. It's going to be just another video that they're watching afterwards. But people are drawn into, hey, let's see the backstage. Hey,
Right.
there's a reason why people love documentaries, right? Because they love to see the truth behind it. So, even when I've done shorts, I've done those where, hey, I've got 4 coffee appointments in one day. Let me film this, and so, I got music playing and I'm showing all the different coffee shops. Well, it's promoting the local businesses, but also showing that, hey, this guy is busy.
Right.
He definitely must be doing something right because he's got all these meetings lined up. Whether that's true or not, when I did have business and started mortgages, that's where the lives really fed me because I would always shoot it from my car. So think about where you're going to shoot the lives from. Does it show you're busy? Does it show you're sitting in an office? Um, Sometimes that doesn't matter, but of course, some people didn't like me shooting live from a car, even though I didn't look at the camera much,
Right.
they were like, "Oh, come on, you got the phone on." I'm like, "It's on a thing. I'm not holding it."
Right.
But, I looked at it just like a phone call and I was just talking to somebody that never responded to me.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So I got to get out of my comfort zone and look to do live. How many days a week? How many posts a week on Facebook, personal Facebook, on your professional?
So I would say at least the post that you're putting on your personal needs to be at least one a day. Okay.
Wow.
And if you can do more than one a day, I had a conference and a summit that I held here just a couple years ago with broker owners that were leveraging social media. One of them had over 52 million views on a TikTok video back during COVID. Okay.
Okay.
And it was a 7-second video of him on the ski slopes. He was on his chairlift, and he had ice on his beard. So he had hashtag ice beard. And he said for about 24 hours or about 48 hours, I knew what it was like to be a Kardashian, right? Because his phone just kept going, dee, 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 dee,
Right.
notification, notification, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What I picked up from them, I think is great that any and every real estate agent should be doing this. And that is leverage your social media like a CRM. When you get up in the morning, look at, interact. And I'm not talking about go into deep detail, but like the people that you are friends with, like their posts. If you're recruiting agents, go after the agents that look at their content. Make sure you say, hey, love this, or congrats, or thumbs up. Just a small interaction. They said that you should take about 15 minutes. Like as a broker, a real estate broker, they would take about 15 minutes and go, interact with probably about 30 to 40 real estate agents every morning. And then he said that, and then what I would do is I would put out my content for the next 15 minutes. So we're talking 30 minutes, start of the day. And he said the
Right.
reason why I do it at the beginning of the day, it will not get done if I wait and get busy during the day, right? And then I want to talk to him about videos. This is just a wide open. Everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a best practice. You need to know you, is what I always say. For some people, it's setting that Saturday morning when the house is quiet, when they're before any open houses or anything else, they set up for about 2 hours, and all week they'll accumulate some video ideas and they'll maybe get some different jackets, and they'll shoot maybe an hour's worth of short videos, right? And then you can go back. Now with AI, I have tools that'll do the editing for me. I don't have to hire a virtual assistant like we used to. And I teach on that in one of my AI classes. But so there's different ways to leverage this. But when I say one post a day easily on Facebook, Instagram, you can share Facebook. If you're using pictures, definitely share it to Instagram, link your accounts together. That takes care of that. When it comes to your video reels, for me, I'm a creative type because I'm a musician as well, right?
Right.
So what I'll do is I will watch video content usually early in the morning. Um, Specifically with TikTok. I teach a TikTok class because I feel like it is low-hanging fruit right now. TikTok is where Facebook was at back in 2018.
Oh,
Okay, that's where
wow.
we're at right now with TikTok. Even though there is, it's the number three, it just surpassed Google as the number one search engine. I don't know if you know this past year.
No, great for
Um,
the listeners. Wow.
yeah. So here's the thing. People are going to TikTok. And I was at UWM, nation's largest lender. And while I was taking their social media class, and I said, "Hey, why is TikTok not up here?" "Well, we haven't updated." I said, "Well, when I was getting on the plane to go up there, I just heard that word." I said, "I just heard that TikTok passed Google." And the social media instructor for UWM said, "That makes sense." I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Well, my son was trying to practice a wrestling move and for his wrestling team, and we went straight to TikTok to find the video. We didn't go to Google." And I was like, "See, it shows a
Wow.
culture shift." So, like with TikTok, I teach a class and then we do something called a TikTok challenge afterwards. And it's free. I never charge for my classes. And what I do is I take the agents that are in that class and they all start looking at me like deer caught headlights, is that I challenge them to 3 videos a day for 7 days. What this does, it primes the algorithm, and I can tell you, I went from 100 to 200 views to now, even when I sporadically post a video on TikTok, I have at least 1,000 views every time. It's because I flooded it with enough content at first. You could do the same with Facebook and Instagram. I have not seen that Facebook Reels actually gives you more um, push than Instagram does. Instagram's very picky, and we never copy the video. I make the video outside of them, just so you know. And I know I'm flying through with a lot of
No, no, no.
information
I
here,
love
but
it.
when I make a video short, I'm making it on my phone first. I'm using an app, either a CapCut or Captions. I love Captions personally, especially with all the AI that they've included now. But I will make the video there first, and then I upload it to TikTok, upload it to Instagram, upload it to Facebook. And depending on the market or who I'm marketing to, I'll upload it to LinkedIn too, because not many people do as much videos on LinkedIn. That's kind of the silent horse in the race. But a lot of professionals are on there. So if it's professional video, that's where I'm going. I'm going to make sure to put it on LinkedIn too. But a reason why I do that is Instagram sent out a thing to all their shareholders and high-end influencers that they would suppress any video that had the word TikTok on it. And we know Facebook owns Instagram. So if that's the case, I'm not sharing my TikTok video that says TikTok on it to Facebook or Instagram. I still see people doing it, and you still get your video out there because the algorithm is algorithm, but they're going to suppress it if they know that it's on there. So I would say one a day, but you don't have to do it 4 different posts. Take your post, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm mainly concentrating on videos, right? But Facebook, I could still do a few things as far as just posting words and a cool meme or a picture just to get people's attention, right?
Got it. Got it. So, I mean, social media could be a full-time job. I mean,
It
that's how
can.
I see it that way. Do you put a, I mean, I only way to I can describe it is like put them in the bag. Do you bank a lot of them on one day, sit down and record an hour's worth and then release them slowly? I mean, for
So
me, I
for
need a time block. And
yeah.
I mean, behind this looks sort of just whatever whole homey background, but for me to set up and do this, and I mean, I want to put a whole bunch of them in the bank because, coming in doing a setup, or am I overanalyzing it?
You are. We call that paralysis by analysis,
Yep.
right? So here's the thing. Authenticity is the greatest currency in marketing. Okay. When you could be authentic and be the real you and make people feel like they're sitting down at home with you or hanging out with you. right? You may be going grabbing a beer. I've seen it's hilarious. There's a real estate agent and a loan officer down in Colorado Springs. I haven't got a chance to talk to them, but I follow their stuff. I think it's awesome what they're doing. They're doing coffee shop reviews, which I've always told agents, hey, let's get together and do this. But no, it usually didn't come to fruition, right? But they're funny. They have good chemistry together, so it works together. I would even challenge you this, Matt, if you're not doing as much, don't try to reinvent the wheel and start and do everything going from 0 to 100. Get some other people involved with you. Let them be accountability partners, whether it be a title rep, whether it be a mortgage rep. Get somebody who's going to, that interacts with you well off camera. Put them
Okay.
on camera with you and just interact, utilize that as a spur. But when it comes to the content and the bank and what you can do, this is our secret weapon. And this is why I teach AI. AI revolutionized and taken away every excuse that any agent could have. And AI is not going to replace the real estate agent, but the real estate agent that uses AI could replace the real estate agent who doesn't. For this very simple fact, I can literally print out an entire month's worth of posts or scripts for videos within about 30 seconds and I'll go between ChatGPT and I've recently been using Claude a lot more. Claude is amazing and it's
Spell that
free.
for me.
I'm not having to pay. Huh?
Spell Claude, just so everyone knows
Oh
Claude.
yeah, it's CLAUDE.
Okay, just like it sounds. Okay. And that's a
Yep, just like it
recommended
sounds.
tool for you. You like Claude?
I love Claude. It's another one of this, right now it's a big competition. You have Gemini, you have Claude, you have Chat GPT. Those are just a few. We're in a .com boom era of AI. Okay. But I think back in the late 90s, I actually worked for AOL for about 2.5 years. So I was the guy that would keep you from canceling, right? But there was the .com boom that spurred AOL and dial up and all that, right? So we're really in that right now. And real estate, unfortunately, when it comes to marketing trends, is usually on the tail end of getting to the marketing trends. AI has been used by big corp for almost a decade now. One thing, fun fact, I always teach in my classes: where did AI come from? Where did the whole idea of AI come from? It was Enron. Enron had the first, the LLM, the language database. Enron created what we now use as like ChatGPT. So,
Wow, never
right,
knew
mind
that.
blown, right? Craziness.
Yeah.
But corporate America has their own AI systems for years. When ChatGPT came out, literally at the end of 22, that's when real estate started taking notice, right? At least majority of us, right? So right now there is so many, and it keeps improving every day. I mean, the fact the cloning, it's still not there, but if you're someone who doesn't want to be on the camera that much, I could go to Claude, say, hey, I want to talk about seasonal, why buying now versus waiting for rates to go up is beneficial. Give me a video script for 30 seconds, right? So I can do that. And then I'll take that script that Claude gives me, I'll tailor it to sound more like me, and then I'll spit it to an app like Captions or Descript. And when I do, I have a video version of myself already with the video done. And I didn't record one single minute of it, right? So, and again, I can tell the glitches in AI, but it's getting smoother and it's getting much harder to tell. But it's another way to put yourself out there without having to go into a studio, make sure the lighting is checked. I mean, Matt, you can record yourself 15 minutes just where you're at right now and standing and you're talking and your mannerisms, and then you could just upload your scripts for your videos, and then they would already be recorded.
Oh my God. Wow. Ugh. That's I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole with this one. I mean, that's a tough one. We got about 4 minutes left here.
Yeah.
I love the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, So you're
Yep.
saying for every 10, you do two about your business, eight for, just human interest, I guess, more of a knowledge base. I'm trying to help someone out. Then circling back to your organic, authentic self, I can't help but go back and reference Rick Rubin. He wrote a book. Well, you probably know of Rick Rubin, follow Rick Rubin. I mean, just a
Yeah.
dynamic individual. And he said, you're not making music. Stop trying to make your music for everyone else. Make what feels good for you, and the rest will take care of itself. So I know that I try and pigeonhole myself and, okay, what are real estate agents? Let them come, build it and they will come, I guess, what you're saying.
You know, the interesting thing, I scour all social media trying to find agents in different markets, seeing what's working. I have this one lady, I believe she's in Nevada. She is freaking hilarious, but she is dark humor all day long, and you can tell that's how she is in person. And she's like, "Get this house so you could be that woman with 20 cats who dies alone," or and it's hilarious, but it's all dark humor. Is like impress your friends so you may actually think you have a social life by having this great room here that's wide open so you can be miserable and curled up in a fetal position late in the evening when no one's watching, just crazy stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I've got another lady, she's always like, got another house for you. And it's always one of those things where it looks like somebody's crashing in or getting hit by a bull or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
that's how our videos start. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch this house video because it is different. They're finding their own voice and it's unique to them. And that's what people, there's 1,000 agents, excuse me, there's 1 million agents out there doing the monthly market updates, right?
Right.
But how many are doing it from maybe an outdoor area where it's kind of crazy, like, or maybe get up on top of the roof of a house and have somebody shooting from a drone and them doing the monthly market report, something that catches people's eyes that's different, that goes against the flow. Your authentic self is going to be your best. I mean, it just is. I mean, and listen, it's going to draw criticism too because you're doing it differently. And so what? I'm like, there was a saying, I don't think I can remember it here real quick because I know we're running out of time, but it was like, you know, for some people, it's like, so what? So well, there's someone else who's waiting for you, So if it's
Right.
not for them, great. We need to be not afraid of finding our niche and flowing in that niche. That's where the riches are in the niches, is what we used to
I
say, right?
100%. 100%. All right, as we got about a minute left here, just real quick, LinkedIn, Reddit, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Tell me where we should focus.
Um, I always say pick one and master it, but at the same time, don't ignore the others.
Okay.
So whether it's, Facebook demographics, still the average age is over 30, is just around 31, 32 is the average age for Facebook. And I get a lot of my data from non-real estate digital marketers too. So, because that's what I always like to know because you have your people. But I would say video, video, video. And if you're doing video, post it to all of them. But when you're doing your written posts, I would definitely say, I'm still a big Facebook guy. I just am.
Good.
Like I said, post your videos to your professional page first, then share it to your personal page. But, keep people engaged.
Okay.
Stay with what's current, just keep engaged. Be a little controversial to a little edge without
Okay.
offending people as
I
much as you
like
can,
it. I'd like it. I like it. I don't want to get cut off. Walter, I appreciate you being here today. There's my alarm that tells me I got to sort of cut this off. How do we get a hold of you real quick?
Yeah, Minister Mortgage on all social medias, or you can text me at 813-833-6943. Lender for 18 years. Love to partner with real estate agents, help them grow. It's what I do as a loan officer. It makes me unique.
Walter, thank you so much. When I'm in Cherry Creek, I'll come see you. I got family there. Love Cherry Creek.